收看第5季的上海名人坊。你好，我是文杰。
Hi, thank you for tuning in Shanghai Talk of Fame.
本期节目是由 SBS Infinity Wallpaper Specialist Carrier Home Sense and Style 为您荣誉呈现。
Hi, thank you for tuning in Shanghai Talk of Fame. I'm your host, Goh Wee Ping. Everybody wants to look good. We all want to look our best. But how much do we know about looking good, especially when it comes to plastic surgery? With us today, we have our renowned plastic surgeon, Dr. Khoo. Hi, Dr. Khoo.
Hi,
welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be on your show.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get started with plastic surgery?
Right. So I first graduated from medicine a long time back. This was more than 15 years ago, actually more than reaching 20 years ago. After completing medicine, intrigued by the intricacy of technique and the marriage of scientific creativity with the artistic side, I decided to pursue a career in plastic surgery.
Okay. That was quite, how long ago was this? This is about...
Well, I graduated in 2005, so it's been 14 years.
14 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, so it's been quite a while, right? How
Absolutely.
much changes have you seen in the last 14 years?
Well, in the last 14 years, we have seen, well, I graduated from medicine in 2005, right, in general medicine. I was working in general surgery, and then I switched over to plastic surgery.
Okay, so
It was a natural progression.
What makes you switch to plastic surgery? Like, why did you decide to pursue plastic surgery?
Well, like I said, intrigued by the intricacy of the technique, the artistic creativity combined with the scientific medical knowledge, I was inspired to pursue a career in plastic surgery.
Okay, and I also know that you had the opportunity to work with a world-famous plastic surgeon in Brazil by the name of Dr. Evil Pittenger.
Yes, Pitanguy.
Yeah, so under what circumstances did you get the chance to meet him?
Well, seeking for the best teacher at the time. And Pitanguy was a big name. I mean, he worked on
Some big Hollywood names.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
Like Tom Cruise.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's in the press, and Sophia Loren, Zaza.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, many others. So, seeking for the best teacher, I had a chance meeting with Ivo Pitanguy in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And after being accepted by Professor Pitanguy, being relicensed to practice medicine in Brazil, I pursued my training in Brazil and completed my residency training at the Hospital da Santa Casa and at the Ivo Pitanguy Institute.
Okay, so that's how it started. Like one thing leads to another,
Absolutely.
and that's how you end up in the industry. Was it an intentional decision, or it's just you just kind of naturally go with it?
I think everything starts from the mind. So when you have something in the mind, naturally you attract events.
The law of attraction.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how long have you been in this business now? And then you said you started off like in 2005.
I've been in the field of plastic surgery since 2009. So it's been 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Decade, yeah.
Okay, and you've been back in Malaysia for...
I've been back here for 1 year.
Okay.
Formerly, I was an attending plastic surgeon at the Hospital da Santa Casa in Rio de Janeiro and at the Ivo Pitanguy Institute. Currently, I'm based back in Malaysia at Khoo Specialist Medical Center and at the Khoo Skin Specialist Clinics.
Yeah, and speaking of the business, what kind of business form do you have?
Well, the Khoo Skin Specialist Clinics, apart from the main center, there are 25 branches, and they provide a platform for various medical practitioners interested in the art and science of aesthetic, medicine, and surgery to come under one roof to practice as business partners in the field.
So the reason you chose this form of business?
I believe, cosmetic medicine and surgery is not a one-man show. We can draw upon strengths of various individuals, and we also reduce the overheads by sharing the overheads.
Okay.
And then there's a centralized marketing and branding with a constant quality assurance and auditing of every medical practitioner in the facility. So the analogy is this. What we're trying to achieve is like something like McDonald's. You can go into any branch around the world, order the Big Mac, and be assured, okay, there's a certain level of
quality assurance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you get the same thing wherever you go. That's what it is, right? So given how competitive the market is, especially in the last few years, we see this happening around the world and also in Malaysia. Every 6 months, you see a new aesthetic center pops up. So how do you stay competitive? What is the advantages?
Competition, first of all, competition is healthy. Without it, we cannot improve ourselves.
True.
We cannot become better. We cannot strive to be the best. So in my opinion, we have to define what we are selling. An analogy would be something like this. We have to define if we are selling, for example, say a Proton Saga, something mid-range like a Toyota, for example, or you're selling something higher like a Bentley or Rolls-Royce. And the marketing strategy would be different based on the product they're trying to sell and to which market group.
Okay.
Which means
product positioning in a sense, right?
yes,
Okay.
we have to deliver what we give, or rather, over-deliver what we promise.
Okay. Under promise, over deliver.
Over-deliver.
That's what your strategy is.
Yes.
Okay.
At the same time, we have maintained our prices at a very reasonable price range, never sacrificing quality.
Okay. And that is a challenge most businesses face. Yeah. When it comes to challenges and obstacles, what obstacles do you face the most?
I think today they are, like you said, like you mentioned just now, Wee Ping, every day we see a new clinic, a new center coming up, and they slash prices to crazy levels. I mean, you could do an eyelid surgery for 500 ringgit.
Yep.
Yeah. So we face competition like this. Price wars are there, and the difference is we actually give better results. We aim to deliver better results.
When you say better results, you're referring to looking more natural or lower risk, or
we have an accredited ambulatory surgical center. Everything is done in a sterile environment.
Okay.
We have an accredited anesthetist. We have dedicated nurses there who are fully qualified and trained to look after the patients post-surgery, for example. We have state-of-the-art lasers, not the laser that you get from Lazada, Alibaba, for example, at a discount price. So we maintain the quality.
Okay.
Like giving a good burger, you need the best ingredients, and we don't shortchange anything on that.
True. Although the burger might look the same from
the outside.
exterior, right? Yeah. But all of you know, you only taste the difference, right? So, enlighten me as a layman. Let's say now I'm a consumer who is faced to choose these two clinics, but one is your clinic where the pricing might cost slightly more, but the other one give me like really cheap pricing. What are the things that I need to be aware of?
The first thing is to read up a little bit of the practitioner. Get to know your practitioner. So paper qualifications are important,
Okay.
but they are not the end all.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. There are many plastic surgeons, for example, who do great work in reconstructive surgery, but they do not have specific training in cosmetic surgery. So you want to ask your practitioner, for example, how many times he has done the procedure. Has he done it during his residency or fellowship training? The number of procedures performed. Ask to see his before and after results, undoctored, mind you.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Testimonials in a sense.
testimonials, before and after pictures. Get to speak to his ex-patients, and I believe some doctors do that. And more importantly, what you feel, you have to feel comfortable with the doctor. The doctor has to be available to you, contactable,
Okay.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Okay.
and there should be a rapport.
So thanks for the tips. That's very important tips. I think because a lot of people are very scared when it comes to things like that, let alone asking the doctors for references or photos, we can actually do that.
You could, yeah.
Okay.
And ask the doctor how many times he has done the procedure. Make sure you're not patient number one.
Okay. All right. Well, share with us a little bit about your time in Brazil when you're working under Pitanguy. What was it like? Was it like really stressful? What was the first encounter with him?
Pitanguy, he's a big name. He's like the Bruce Lee of plastic surgery.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, he's one of the founding fathers of plastic surgery. So working with such a big name, I mean, the thing that surprised me is Pitanguy's humility. And to me, he was 1 in 1 billion. He had the natural sprezzatura. He had the natural inclination to see a technique, digest it, make it better. And more importantly, he could relay this to students, like, for example, like us, and we were just residents there. and make the technique safe, reproducible.
Okay.
Pitanguy treated all his patients, be it the poorest patients, because we have these shanty towns in Rio de Janeiro. The poorest patient with no money, and his celebrity clientele, he treated them all the same with love and respect.
Okay. So that is his motto when it comes to his work.
Yes.
But how was he like as the teacher?
He was very approachable. Obviously, when the celebrity clientele come in, there was a great excitement, but we maintain our professionalism and confidentiality. At the same time, I got to operate a lot hands-on, directly by myself in Rio de Janeiro. So that was the ethos of our training center,
I see.
to make sure that our practitioners come out practice ready.
Okay. Okay. So can you disclose a little bit what are the procedures most Hollywood stars went through? What do you recommend?
Well, without naming names, I think many Hollywood stars flock to Pitanguy mainly for the facelift, rhinoplasties.
Because he is very good, right?
Yes.
He's really good at it. Okay. But as a person, I also understand that you did learn some precious lessons from him about how to treat criticism.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. Well, Pitanguy being the best in his field, naturally being the best, you will draw flack, you will draw attention from jealous peers or competitors. And Pitanguy, the best advice he gave me was to actually never speak ill of your fellow practitioner. Aim to build the highest building yourself. Don't tear the others down. And to this day, Pitanguy has passed away. God bless him. I have never once heard him speak ill, even to his biggest critic at the time. And I carry this philosophy myself to this day.
Okay. Well, that's very noble.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not easy to do, and especially you're in such a competitive industry, right? So, how is the trend in? I'm just curious. How's the trend in Brazil compared to Malaysia when it comes to plastic surgery?
Well, there are cultural differences in perceptions of beauty. For example, in Brazil, Latin America, even North America, there is a craze for big, round, firm buttocks.
The a la Jennifer Lopez.
Yes, Kim Kardashian, Jennifer. They want the big butts.
Yeah.
Right, and the procedure is called the Brazilian butt lift.
Okay.
First, also developed by Pitanguy back in the 60s.
Oh wow! As early as the 60s.
Yeah, as early as the 60s. It's not so popular here though, because I think the women here they want their butts small and perky. They're more influenced by the Korean culture.
Okay, and I also suppose like Asian figure, we have smaller frames. Would you say it probably is not suitable for Asians?
I think the trend is slowly changing. I do get some inquiries from some women who want their butts not as big as J-Lo, but they want it bigger, they want it higher.
All right. So how is this procedure being done?
Well, there are two ways of performing the Brazilian butt lift. And one way is by extracting your own fat, be it from your thighs, from your abdomen, from your tummy. And this fat is then processed and then re-injected into your buttocks.
So it's actually entirely your own body parts in a sense.
It's organic, so it's
safe.
It is safe, but at the same time, every surgery carries its risks.
Yeah, there are certain risks when it comes to all things like that. Yeah. So let's go back to that question on Brazil. How is it different from Malaysia? What else other than the butt lift? Anything else on the facial part of it? Do they like smaller eyes, bigger eyes? Or how is it different?
If we look at the cultural perception again, and you look at someone like beautiful, like Angelina Jolie.
This is the thing. We all think Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Lopez, they are like the standard beauty. But apparently, it's not quite so, right? When it comes to plastic surgery,
no, in the
Asians think otherwise.
The Asians want their faces sharp, so they give an aura of the girl, she's docile, she's more submissive, so they want the V shape.
So no hard, angular face for Asian
Angelina
girls.
Jolie has a strong jaw.
Yeah.
It means in Asia, if you believe in Chinese face reading, a dominant woman.
But Asian women don't like that.
They don't like that.
Really?
They don't like that. They feel like, okay, in Chinese Feng Shui of the face, a woman with a strong
Too
jaw.
dominant.
Too dominant, very dominant.
That you cannot find husband.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They eat their husband, quote unquote.
Okay. How about the eyes? Like we all have this beautiful, what I think is beautiful Asian single eyelid, the beady eyes and all. But
Well, you have a double eyelid.
I suppose we all like what we don't have. Yeah.
Okay, it's natural, I presume. But,
Yeah.
there's a big demand here for double eyelid surgery because we as Asians, well, at least a good 90% of us, we don't have the crease, the supertarsal crease.
Even if we do, it's very shallow, right?
Yes.
It's not as obvious.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is a problem?
I don't think it's a problem as long as we maintain a natural look and don't occidentalize the appearance, make it look natural. It could really enhance the beauty of many an Asian women.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say the Malaysian women are more, or Malaysians in general are more influenced by the Korean or the Japanese
That would be true.
culture? Yeah.
The procedures most commonly in demand would be double eyelid surgery, nose jobs, rhinoplasties, and of course to thin out the jaw.
Okay. Well, we've spoken about the eyes and the jawline. We have not really touched on the nose. So we're going to take a break. In the short while, we're going to ask Dr. Khoo more about plastic surgery. Don't go away. Welcome back to Shanghai Talk of Fame. With us today is our renowned plastic surgeon, Dr. Khoo. So, Dr. Khoo, we mentioned about the butt lift. Yeah, we talked about the double eyelid and also the jawline. How about the nose? As we know, Chinese culture, we are very pantang when it comes to nose. Okay, let's take for example my nose. What do you see? Is that good or bad? Too big or crooked or?
Well, I think you have a slight deviation to your left.
Okay.
I believe you had some form of accident or injury.
I had an accident when I was young, yeah. Okay. So is that hard? Let's say, for example, I'm one of your clients. I come to a clinic and I say, I want you to straighten my nose. Would you recommend that? Or how do you advise your patients, whether they should or they need to do it?
Well, when somebody has had an accident on the nose and there's a deviation, naturally there's a cartilage inside the nose that could be deviated as well, thereby blocking air entering the nose, causing congestion, for example, causing a structure called turbinate to possibly hypertrophy, become bigger, and you could get problems with your sinus.
Okay, yeah, that was my case. Yeah. So under circumstances like this, you will strongly recommend them
need
to have
surgery.
it.
it's sort of mandatory to prevent this airflow obstruction.
I also once heard a plastic surgeon say, don't do plastic surgery for others, do it for yourself. Like, for example, if someone come in and say, my husband or my girlfriend think my eyes are too small, I want you to help me widen it. Would you say yes or no?
Well, this is controversial.
Okay.
Sometimes when we say we're doing it for ourselves, but really we want to show ourselves to the public, we want to look good, and then we get a little bit of validation there, and then that is for ourselves really. So it's a double-edged sword really.
Okay.
There's no direct answer. I think everything has been treated on a case-to-case basis. But if they're strictly doing it just to appease, satisfy someone else, and not themselves per se, then we have to take a step back and see, okay, is there any other psychological issues or?
Yeah. Because some of these procedures are not reversible, right? Once it's done, right? So how about Feng Shui wise? Have you ever had any cases where a client came back and say, you know, my nose used to be really good fortune, but now after this you ruined my life, you know, anything like that? Or do you actually have to study a little bit of Feng Shui? I don't know.
Well, actually, Feng Shui of the face is one of my major interests. And if you look at Jackie Chan, he has quite a broad tip down here.
Yep. So is Jackie Cheung, the singer.
Yes. And they have good fortunes.
Yep.
So, and if you tighten this whole area, for example, if you look at Michael Jackson early in his career, when before he found fame and fortune with the Jackson 5, he had a bulbous tip, what we call, you know.
What is that called, that little?
Yeah, bulbous tip.
Okay.
He has a tip here which is a little bit fat. It looked good on him, to me, but over the years he gradually made it small, and then I think it was after Thriller, it was just okay. But then I think he went overboard, and then he looked a little bit unnatural after that. And then with it, when his nose tip became super pinched, his fortune came down. Michael Jackson is no longer Michael Jackson.
Used to be.
Used to be. So there is direct correlation between structures.
So you strongly believe in that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so how's my nose? No, that's another topic on another day. So, okay, tell us about the philosophy. What is the philosophy? Do you guys actually study about plastic surgery philosophy? Is there such a thing?
Well, I mean, I think all top plastic surgeons are philosophers. I mean, if you look at Pitanguy, I mean, he's a surgeon who studied all the old philosophies, such as from Schopenhauer, Seneca, for example. And we had many discussions on the philosophy of plastic surgery. My own personal take is plastic surgery should be natural.
Okay.
It's not a cookie cutter approach. We can't just do the same surgery for everyone.
Okay.
So everyone is unique,
Like
everyone
a
is
mold.
different. Yeah, you can't do that.
Okay.
You can't do that. So in my opinion, we have to look at the patient, study his structure, and what suits him, what makes him or her harmonious. For example, a woman like my boss, Pittenger, used to say, a woman can be plump, but can be aesthetically pleasing. You don't have to make her really slim to achieve something natural for her.
Yeah.
We can't put a triple D into a woman just because she tells us she wants to do it.
Yeah, and she's only like 5 foot tall, right? Yeah, they will be like completely out of proportion. I do believe in proportion when it comes to aesthetic. Now, speaking of aesthetic, the $1 million question. Do you see yourself more of an artist or a doctor?
I see myself first as a doctor, right? That is my foundation.
Or a sculptor?
Yeah, sculptor. So when you're sculpting something, it's daily decrease, not daily increase. So we chip away at the unessential to bring out the beauty.
Okay. So you're seeing yourself more of a sculptor? Or?
A scientific sculptor.
A scientific sculptor, that's a nice way to put it. And is there any limitations when it comes to plastic surgery? Do you see there's limitations?
Yeah, there are limitations in my opinion. On one end of the spectrum, right? We as surgeons have certain ideals in our brain, and we look at a certain patient and say, okay, she needs this and that. But we also have to listen to the patient, what she wants and not just what we want. There are certain circumstances, for example, I remember this woman who came to our office in Rio de Janeiro requesting for a third breast here. And
really?
Yes.
In Malaysia?
No, in Brazil.
Oh, really? She wants a third breast?
She wanted a third breast. She wanted us to put in an implant here and do a tattoo over the nipple.
What's wrong with cleavage? Okay, no, anyway.
Yeah.
To each his own, yeah, okay.
She had her own reasons for the request.
So how would you handle things like that?
Personally, I think you will be famous overnight for doing such surgeries. So I tend to shy away from such demands because I think they can be a little bit out of the ordinary. It's not wrong, but I don't feel comfortable doing it. So in such cases, I would normally refer it to a colleague.
So is that the weirdest case you ever handled?
We have a lot of weird cases.
What is the weirdest case and the most unforgettable case you have?
We had a patient again in Brazil. She had laser hair removal done from her genitalia, and then she broke up with her boyfriend. And believe it or not, she came back to the plastic surgery office asking for hair transplant. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So that to me is quite bizarre.
It is bizarre. Okay. Now, you have been in this industry for a while now. So, how has plastic surgery changed over the last 2 decades, and how has this impact what's available now?
I think there's a massive increase in the options available for patients who are not quite ready for surgery yet per se. So the non-invasive modalities, we just used to have Botox, fillers, lasers, but now it's really advanced. We even have picosecond lasers. We have other modalities such as radio frequency to tighten the skin, HIFU or high intensity,
all sorts,
focus ultrasound. Plenty of other modalities available. Growth factors available in form of injectables. And these are all good options for patients who are not psychologically ready for surgery.
Okay, but are they all the same? Because as a patient, really sometimes we couldn't choose because the choices, with what the choices, there's so many things to choose from. First of all, there's so many different types of products in the market. Secondly, there's so many clinics in the market. So how do we choose? Are they the same? I always have this question in the back of my head. Are they all the same?
It's like a car, somebody could sell you a car and tell you, okay, the contents, we have 4 doors, 1 gearbox, 1 steering. A car is a car is a car, but a car is not necessarily a car. I mean, if you look at the Rolls Royce
different people, true.
And you compare it with, say, a Yugo, I mean, these are 2 different cars.
Okay.
They both can get you from A to B, but the ride, the experience, these are totally,
the status.
Yeah, that too. So same thing with lasers, they are lower end lasers, and then there are higher end lasers which work better, lower downtime. The best thing is to go to a reputable clinic and speak to a practitioner who has had long-standing experience performing the exact procedures that he professes he performs, and have a discussion with your doctor or medical professional to gain a better idea on the options available for the particular case.
Okay, well, this is my own experience that I once had a little filler under the eyes, and that filler hardened after a certain time, and you can actually feel like there's something hard underneath the skin, and I assume they used the wrong product, or it could be, So again, I totally understand why you kept emphasizing on choosing the right doctor, the right clinic is essential. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, and you've also involved in this Mission Smile, Operation Smile India. Tell us a little bit about this project. What is it?
Well, Mission Smile, formerly known as Operation Smile India, is a charity organization whereby we gather surgeons who are credentialed in cleft surgery. So they are kids with an opening here, which is
cleft
not,
lips.
Cleft lips, which is not repaired at birth. And we go around internationally several times a year, up to 6-8 times a year, and we operate on these children, or even some adults who have not had it repaired.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because it affects the speech, it affects the confidence, it affects so how do you repair such lips? And in India, was there a charity? There's a charity mission.
There's a charity mission. Basically, there are several techniques available to join the lips, which it could be wide, it could be narrow, and then underneath that lips, when you look inside, underneath the mouth, there's a structure called the palate right here, and some of them there's a gap there too. So we have to use specific plastic surgical techniques to repair them.
Do you literally sew it back, or you need to put a filler?
We sew it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but lately I've also been performing hair transplant to mask that scar, and perform fat grafting as well.
Hair transplant?
Hair transplant. Because you have a scar after you repair the cleft lip. And you could actually transplant
like
some hair.
A mustache.
Yeah, to cover up or camouflage that scar.
Oh, okay. All right. So, any chances of these children grow up without a scar or look?
Once you have surgery, there's always a scar there because it's an abnormal developmental anomaly in the child. These missions are great because we learn a lot. There's great camaraderie between the professionals. It's really nice to give back as well.
Okay. All right. Okay. So tell us. Let's go back to the inspiration part of your work. What inspires you the most?
Inspiration in my work.
Yeah.
If I were to put it, what inspires me? There's this story on Sylvester Stallone. So we all know Stallone from the Rocky, Rambo movies. Big guy, over the top. It's always the big macho guy. But before all this, so Stallone, he was a broke, destitute, struggling actor. I mean, we don't know much about this. And he even had to wash his clothes during shower to save money.
Oh, wow.
He had to warm himself in public libraries because he couldn't pay for heating. In an act of desperation, he even pawned his wife's jewelry. So after that, Stallone watched this fight between the then champion Muhammad Ali against Chuck Wepner. So Chuck Wepner being the underdog, nobody knew him. He was expected not to last more than 3 rounds against Ali. But he didn't come to lay down. He came to fight. And he lasted the full 15 rounds with Ali. He lost, but he showed great determination, great heart. Inspired by that, Stallone, he sat down 20 hours straight, wrote the script of what eventually would be called Rocky. And we remember now, Stallone is still unknown. And he pitched this to several producers. Nobody wanted it.
Everybody says no to him.
Yeah, everybody says no to him. And then after a long series of rejection, he finally meets a couple of guys. He said, okay, we'll take the script.
Give it a try,
Yeah, we'll give it a try. And they offered him $125,000.
Which is very little for Hollywood standard.
But at that time, in 1975, so that was big money. And we forget, Stallone at the time claimed that he did not have more than $50 in his bank account. And their demand is he passed the script over, he could not star in the movie. They didn't want him to star in the movie, he was unknown. And Stallone actually stood by and said, no, I'm Rocky, this is my story. And that was it. So several weeks later, these same guys came back to him. They doubled the price, $250,000 for him not to star in the movie.
Okay.
They wanted Ryan O'Neal to star in the movie. Stallone was unknown. Again, he stood by his principle. He said, no.
It's me and nobody. Okay.
Yes, that was it. They came back again. $325,000, mind you. This chap had $50 in his bank account. And again, he said no. Finally, they relented. They said, okay, you know what, Stallone, we're gonna take the script. We're gonna let you star in it, but he only get paid something to the effect of 35,000 USD. And he took it, and the rest was history. Rocky cost $1 million to produce, gross over $200 million in profits. And won an Oscar. Stallone won an Oscar. So right before giving his speech, he gave a talk, right, before the speech. And he wrote down every single negative thing and all the rejections, what everyone had said, all the naysayers. And he ended by saying, the best revenge is massive success. And that story really inspires me, not to give up on our dreams, to always strive, even if the odds are against us, and to always give our best, stick to our principles, and I think we can achieve many things in life. Okay, so that's how it transpired you in your career. Yes, that too. Yeah. Okay. And in life. Really. Okay. So what adversity have you encountered so far? The worst. Going to Brazil, for example. Nobody speaks English in Brazil. I had to learn Portuguese from scratch. Okay. I never spoke a word of Portuguese before heading over to Rio de Janeiro. Getting re-licensed in Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil, and just learning a whole new language, adapting to a whole new culture, and learning the intricacy of techniques. That was a big challenge. Well, you have made it. Congratulations. Oh, this is just the first step. So, well, I'm sure there are many more successes to come. So, once again, thank you so much, Dr. Khoo, for your time. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in. Don't forget our next episode of Shanghai Talk of Fame.